Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Jonny Mozza's Lessons in Confidence. Today I wanted to not necessarily do a tutorial on how to do these videos, but if you're interested in doing this kind of thing, this video will kind of give you a few tips and tricks for finding interesting locations, using different gear and that kind of thing. So I use a Canon C100 going into a Rode Smart Lav, which hooks up into my phone, which is sat in my pocket, right? And there's an app called Easy Voice Recorder. An Easy Voice Recorder is pretty decent. It comes up with a couple ads every now and then, but they never really get in the way of the actual recording process. The app's decent, not shilling it, so use whatever app works for you. The Canon C100 is pretty good. Again, I'm not shilling it. Use whatever works for you. And the Rode Smart Lav, again, I'm not shilling it. Use whatever works for you. But this setup works for me, and it's worked for me for about 500 videos, right? So I think the main thing, now that the technical stuff's out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about finding topics and then trying to do them, because one of the main things of this little series thing is doing the videos in one take, or as close to one take as you can get, with some exceptions, right? So when I started the channel about a year ago, the idea was I'd done so many videos of editing and, you know, all that kind of stuff, and the editing was taking a long time, takes hours out of the day, and I felt like as I edited stuff more and more, it took out the authenticity behind the person doing the talking, right? I did a couple of these sorts of videos where I just talk into a camera about stuff that interests me a few years ago on a different channel, and I did jump cuts and stuff like that and little edits, and I found that it got rid of it, like the sheen of polish that goes over it interfered with the message and the authenticity and the person behind the message, right? So you don't have to do them in one take, but I would recommend doing them in one take. Also, it helps you with your speaking. I'm a little bit out of breath right now, so that's why I'm not speaking completely, you know, fully off the cuff. You know, there's a little bit of breath here and there, and I feel like it's okay to talk slowly as long as what you're saying is interesting. And this is where the main part of this video is coming in, is finding topics to talk about, right? So there's going to be something out there that really interests you. You know, everyone has that one topic that they can talk about for hours, right? Well, in my case, it was filmmaking, music making, and that kind of thing to begin with, right? And I thought I could talk about that for hours. And so I did videos of me talking about it for 10 minutes, and together all of those videos last for hours and hours. So, and as time went on, I realized I was covering the topics from so many different angles. I needed to branch out a little bit, also for my own sanity a little bit, because I can't talk about the same thing ad nauseum. I've got other interests, and I've got other things that I care about. So I started bringing in new topics, and I did that early on to cement the fact that this channel isn't about one concrete thing, right? So I thought, well, I care about politics in the sense of like engaging with politics in a way that it was almost like a mental health side to politics, you know, engaging with politics as much as your mental health will sort of allow you to. So I did a couple of videos about that, and then I did, you know, you do a couple of videos about whatever interests you, Christmas, technology, stuff like this, trying to get my own worldview out there. And one thing that's really good about doing these sort of videos, if you're interested in doing something like this, what's really good about these videos is it helps you realize your own worldview and your own identity really, really well. Before I started doing these videos, I wasn't entirely sure as to what my voice actually was. You know, I can hear my voice in the mirror in my ears when I talk, and it sounds like that. But I never really got a sense of my own identity. And doing these videos really helped me sort of solidify what my identity is to myself, you know? So that's one really good thing about doing these videos. Even if you just do them for yourself, you know, don't do them with the aim of getting loads of YouTube subscribers or whatever. Do them for the sake of branching out your own worldview and figuring out what your worldview is, right? And I realized my worldview, I can't really summarize it in a sentence or anything like that. I think it's generally go for the thing, don't worry so much about what's going on in life. And the main reason that's my worldview is because I am a big worrier. I worry about stuff all the time. but I also know that I'm worrying about these things, and I know that those worries aren't worthwhile. And so it's a good way of just sort of saying to yourself, you don't need to worry about it. It's okay. You can be yourself, right? So a lot of the videos I do are about, being yourself, figuring out who you are and being comfortable in your own skin and all of that kind of stuff. So I've done a load of videos about that, about mental health, figuring out what's going on in the brain, within my own, and then trying to apply that to a general, audience, and you tackle things from different perspectives and all that sort of stuff. And why I would really, really recommend you give this idea a go isn't necessarily just for all of that, because that's all well and good. One other aspect to these videos is I like to pick a different location, or if it's going to be the same location, find a new way of shooting that location. So I have actually used this location before. I used this location about a year ago, and it was actually kind of a similar shot. I was going to have it kind of like this, but I mean, now the sun's kind of gone down a little bit, it's behind a cloud. But it didn't work that side. I was just encased in the sun. So I thought I'll do it this side and I'll do that angle another time, right? It's good for getting out there, I go to the park and stuff a lot more often now with a camera, and I find an interesting location that I haven't used before, or even the same location, but I thought of, oh, I could do it. I might be doing this video, say, right? But I'll be thinking, oh, I'd love to do a video like this, but maybe with a longer lens, and see how that looks. And it's a really good way of figuring out your framing and learning about using the camera. I think my ability to use my camera has improved drastically since I started doing these videos. And I think my shot composition and all that kind of stuff has gotten better. And when it hasn't gotten better, it's just because I've been a bit lazy and I've just sort of thought, I can throw the camera there, it doesn't matter, I just want to get a quick video out about something that's on my mind at the moment, And I think if you want to make these kind of videos, right, there's 3 things that you need. One, you need to have some kind of setup, right, which you could even use your phone, right? And at some point I plan on doing a video just entirely through the phone, just to prove that you can do it, right? Because it's all well and good me saying you can just use your phone while I use a fucking cinema camera, right? So there's a bit of hypocrisy in that. But you can just use your phone. And people do use their phones all the time for all kinds of different things. What I would recommend you not do is just film in your bedroom, right, or in your office, and just use the same location every single time. The fact that it's a different location each time makes your thumbnails look different, but also it makes a cohesiveness behind them all. If you're using sort of a similar setup each time, you can kind of get a sense of the branding identity. You know what a shot that I do kind of looks like because it will be using the same camera pretty much, and I use more or less the same kind of places, but they might have different colors. Some videos will look a little bit more blue because it might be a bit more blue out. It might be a cloudy day, so it might look a little bit more cloudy. It might be, and certain shots, when I go into the color grading, certain shots want to be certain colors, even though like you can shoot in RAW all you want and tweak things to Kingdom Come. You can do that, but I find every shot wants to be something, right? I'm not sure what this shot wants to be. I have a feeling this shot is going to want to be kind of warm. From what I saw in the viewfinder, I have a feeling it's going to want to be warm. So I'm going to try and color grade it to that kind of thing. You might be watching it now and it might just be coated in fucking blue because it turns out that's actually what it needed. But different shots and different days will want to be different things. Some shots want to be purple, some shots want to be orange, some shots want to be green, some shots want to be fucking black and white, right? And color grade it in a way that sort of fits that. And I would recommend you color grade them because color grading is actually quite fun. It's the one bit of editing you can do while you have a podcast on in the background, right? I quite enjoy color grading. I enjoy messing around with the colors. It's fun to really fuck around with it and get sort of a style going on. Even if it doesn't necessarily look professional, it looks interesting. And I think that's the key, is to look interesting and to catch the viewer's eye in some kind of way. Second off, you need to have a core set of topics. In my case, it's filmmaking, music, and motivation. Those are my 3 key words that I've given myself, and all videos, not all of them, but most videos sort of fall into something to do with those topics. And for you, it might be, I don't know, skateboarding, it might be scuba diving, it might be video games, it might be, your job as an IT consultant, right? It might be any of these sort of things, right? important thing is to have some sort of core video, right? For me, there's videos that I make that are like almost, I think of them as like the main series of this series. They're like mainline videos, and then there's sort of sideline videos that, like this one for instance, probably isn't a mainline video. This is kind of a sideline video. Okay, what I mean by that is there's certain videos that I consider important videos in the way that I've put a lot of effort into them. They fit my core brand and identity a lot more strongly than say a sideline video, which is just sort of a little side thing, right? And as you do this more and more, what becomes a mainline video and what becomes a sideline video will become more apparent to you, right? And the third thing that I think you need is an idea of locations, right? So wherever you live, I don't care where you live, right? There are interesting locations to film. I've dropped the pin on Oklahoma City, right, in the past, and I've had a look around on the Google Street View, and it looks really fucking miserable. I'm not gonna get it out. I'm not gonna get it out. I can't be asked. But if you've seen anything to do with Oklahoma City, it doesn't look like a particularly inspiring place. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't interesting things to shoot there. I don't know entirely about the laws of filming and stuff in America, but most YouTubers are fucking American, so I presume you can get away with it, doing this kind of thing on, you know, like some little park in Oklahoma City or whatever. I think Oklahoma's sort of in the desert, but it's like a lot of it's green because it's sort of been like, they've put lawn down everywhere. But you know, you can go into little deserty parts, and it's a good excuse to get yourself out of the house. Say if you're someone that ends up being housebound quite a lot, like I used to be before I started these videos, it's a great excuse to get out into the world. Like sometimes I'll just find myself walking through the woods, right, which I wouldn't normally do, but I'm doing it for the sake of trying to find an interesting location that I can do to do some filming, right? And I think as you do more and more videos, you will figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And the most important thing that I would say is don't be afraid to upload a video that you're not massively happy with, right? Because you don't know what's going to pop off, and you don't know what other people are going to resonate with most, right? My 3 or 4 or possibly my top 5 most viewed videos aren't ones that I consider to be my best, right? The videos I consider to be my best usually end up getting about 500 views, right? They usually don't end up doing too well because they're on niche topics or whatever, or maybe there's something about it that just didn't have a broad appeal. But in my opinion, it's the best that I have to offer, right? But you know, what I consider the best of what I have to offer might not be what you consider the best of what I have to offer, right? I mean, you'll hear of like, you know, say sitcoms or whatever, they have the classic joke, right? They have that joke that's iconic, right? And oftentimes when I find these iconic jokes in sitcoms or whatever, I don't consider it to be the best joke they have to offer. There's usually better jokes that fly completely under the radar. But you need to have the lesser quality stuff in order to have the quality stuff, right? You need the green triangle and a quality street, because that makes the golden barrel taste even better, right? You need to have some bad to go with the good. And you don't get to be the arbiter of what's good and what's bad. Your audience gets to be the arbiter, and they get to decide what's good and bad, right? Obviously, if something is just completely fucking unusable, if the audio is fucking shite, if you're just rambling and you have nothing to say, if the shot looks awful, or you know, if you have to cut loads of things out because you've said the wrong thing or whatever, you know, you've accidentally revealed something personal that you shouldn't, like, yeah, there's exceptions to it, right? But overall, don't be afraid of releasing something that you don't consider to be your finest work, right? Because look, you're a nobody at the end of the day. If you're starting out, right, you probably have 0 subscribers, or you've got some channel that you were using before that maybe has like 200 subscribers, right? You don't have a full audience, and you can use that to your advantage for now, right? And have fun with it and experiment with stuff. And you can continue to experiment. Like I still experiment with stuff even though I've got a bit of an audience. But I feel like now that I've got a bit of an audience, there's more expectation of what I have to offer. So I think it's also, like, I still try and stick to the same philosophy of just release even stuff that I even consider to be not necessarily my best work. But at the end of the day, I still stick to that core principle of I don't get to be the arbiter of what's good and what's bad. Other people get to be the arbiter of that, right? For instance, I've released two films recently. One that I wasn't massively happy with, and one that I was massively happy with. And everyone turned out everyone preferred the one that I wasn't massively happy with, right? Everyone preferred that one. So, and it goes with everything, right? Your favorite show, there's someone out there that thinks it's shite. Your favorite movie, someone thinks is terrible, right? My favorite movie at the moment is The Transporter with Jason Statham. Someone else will probably think it's fucking shite, right? But then I might ask them what their favorite movie is, and they might say Gone. I was about to say Gone with the Wind, but I kind of like it. I don't know, Trainspotting. I don't love Trainspotting's all right. I don't love it. It's okay. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It is a good movie, but I don't necessarily like it that much, right? So I think the key that I'm trying to get at here is don't be afraid of putting out content. Don't be afraid of putting out videos, and don't be afraid of speaking your mind, right? Be yourself. Get across an authentic image of who you consider yourself to be, right? And as time goes on, you will learn who you are through what you do and what you talk about and what your voice is, right? And it will either resonate with people or it won't, right? But at the end of the day, you've done it, right? And I would really recommend that you give this a go because I've had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm going to carry on having a lot of fun doing it. And it's been very good for my creative brain. I feel like I've been a lot more productive since I started doing these videos. And you know, I make like sort of £6-7 a day off of this now. So maybe you can make £6-7 a day off it as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're planning on starting up something like this, let me know. And also, don't be afraid to change. Like, you don't have to just do what I do, right? You can do it in your own sort of way. I know someone who started off being inspired by me, and then they went off in a completely other different direction, right? And that different direction was more true to who they were, but they used my style as a building block to figure out what their own style was, right? The same way I used Joel Haver Talks Movies, his second channel, Joel Haver's second channel, I used that to figure out what my style was as a building block. And now I don't think my videos really have much in common with what Joel Haver's sort of Talks Movies channel is. I don't think our content is similar at all, other than we talk to the camera in one take. But that was the inspiration for me, and I didn't copy what he was doing, but I used his layout, his style, as a foundational building block for my own, right? And then went off and did something else, right? My favorite band has been inspired by another band, and that band was inspired by someone else, right? Every rock band has been inspired by the blues, right? And then there's loads of rock bands now that, you know, are inspired by the classic rock bands, you know? Greta Van Fleet, clearly inspired by Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin, clearly inspired by the blues, right? So, you know, and then there'll be someone in the future that'll be inspired by Greta Van Fleet, you know? And look, whatever your opinion on Greta Van Fleet is, say you don't like them, that's fair enough, right? But I think the world's better off having Greta Van Fleet than if Greta Van Fleet had just taken up a job in an office and not done anything with their life. Or even if they were working in an office and they did Greta Van Fleet in their spare time, you know? They've got a couple decent songs. And I think it's worth having them there so that we can have those couple decent songs. Same way I think it's worth having the 37 seasons of The Simpsons, right? Because we've got Eternal Moonshine of a Simpson Mind, right? Which is a great episode from season 19. We got Barthood from like season 28 or whatever, right? There's a lot of crap in the later era of The Simpsons, but there's also some good stuff. And I think it's worth taking the bad to get the good, right? Because at the end of the day, like with my videos, if I make a crap video, you don't have to watch it, right? And if I make a good video, you also don't have to watch it, but you might be more inclined to watch it. And yeah, I would recommend that you give this a go because it's a lot of fun, it's creatively rewarding, it's creatively fulfilling, and it's not particularly difficult. When I've really got a lot to say, I can do 6 of these videos in a day. The most I've ever done in a day is 13, right? And admittedly, not all 13 are great, but I've managed to do 13 in a day before. And yeah, I'd like to continue doing this. I want to continue doing this to the end of time. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. If you have made a video in this style, please leave a comment below on the channel that you use to upload that video, and I'll check it out. And yeah, that's it from me. You can tag me on YouTube as well. I see those. I've been sort of in two minds on whether I should interact with them. I probably should. Yeah, I'm gonna start being more interactive with this kind of thing. Yeah, that's gonna be it from me. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.